Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly K. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we're going to Westchester, Ohio, to the Lakefront Apartments, okay? So I've got that on the map here. Very interesting case that I just came across because there's going to be a retrial and it's going to be a bench trial. I'm like, what? Like, what is happening here? So I wanted to bring this to you, tell you all about it as much as I can, of course, in one live stream. There's so much to talk about. There was already a full trial for 3 weeks, which ended in a hung jury because one juror wouldn't budge. They said, this guy needs to be acquitted, and that's it. So, like, wow, the prosecution had 41 witnesses, and, you know, the family was there, and everyone was very, very sad that at the end of the day, justice was not served based on the evidence at hand. You know, some of the jurors were upset with that one juror, but hey, it's everyone's right to... They got to do what they feel is right. You know what I mean? Okay, so let me bring up the presentation before we go through any of this stuff. Because that's me. That's me gone. Presentation. Hold on. I'm trying to bring up the presentation. Take this one away. Presentation time. How about that? Okay. So, all right. This is the defendant. This is who we're looking at. We're going to get into it in a moment. Just give me 1 second quickly. I just want to do this. There we go. Okay. So, are we ready? Please like, share, so that others can learn about this case. This trial, the retrial, starts next week, Monday, April 29th, depending on when you're watching this. So I wanted us to be prepared in case I cover it. I'm not sure. I'll have to see if you guys are interested in it or not, or if you want to learn more about it, and if I can maybe get the PCA and maybe police interviews, which they showed at the first trial. Who knows? We'll see. Welcome to all my moderators. Thank you so much for everything you do. Welcome to all my patrons, members, subscribers, anyone who's new here, any family and friends of the victims. I hope that you will feel safe here with us, and I really hope that there will be justice for the victims soon. Okay, if this is not the right guy, which based on the evidence it sounds like it might be, but if not, hope they find the right people then. Okay, so here we go. Gurpreet Singh. Or Gurpreet Singh, I would guess. He's from Punjab, India, right? But I'm going to say it like you might say it in America. Gurpreet Singh. He is the only son of Karam Singh and Daljit Kaur, who live in Punjab, India. He was a husband and father living in Westchester, Ohio, when this crime occurred. He owned a trucking company and worked up to 80 hours a week. Does he want to compete with my working hours? Wow, like, that is a lot, okay, driving up and down. He was arrested. Here we go. Are you ready, everyone? He was arrested in a Walmart parking lot. Yes, Walmart. We have it again. Okay. In July of 2019. And he's been held in the Butler County jail since then. His trial took place in October of 2023. Now think of that. The crime occurred in April of 2019. It took so long to get to trial because of the pandemic, because of several motions filed, delays, all kinds of things. He initially paid attorneys himself $250,000 from assets that he had, and then eventually he was declared indigent and had to get public defenders. Same as in this retrial, he's going to have public defenders, but like, there were so many delays, which is why it's like, no, like a hung jury. I can't imagine it, right? Okay, so I do see all of you chatting here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to try my very best to get through this presentation. I always like to watch the live chat replays and see what you guys say and see what you say in the comments as well. Bayo Babe says, oh no, not another Walmart. There's got to be a Walmart. Yeah, even in this case, it was like a Walmart. He was arrested where now? So his trial took place October 2023 and ended in a mistrial. His retrial starts April 29th of 2024. In long distance calls in Punjabi, Gurpreet's parents expressed their horror, shock, grief, and bewilderment at the trajectory of their son's life. They say a dutiful son, a good husband and a loving father, is now accused of murder, facing the death penalty? The source of that is wvxu.org. I will link all my sources in the description box afterwards in case you want to read more as well. But shame. The parents, sitting in Punjabi, India, are very upset. Like, what is going on here? And he's been sitting in jail since July, actually, of 2019. So, off we go to what happened. Let's keep it going. Girls, Nana says, I would like to learn more about this case. And you're in the right place. So these are the victims. So this is a quadruple homicide. I can't believe I hadn't heard about this until like yesterday. This is a quadruple homicide that took place in Westchester, right? Yes, Westchester, Ohio. Okay? Quadruple homicide, death penalty case, hung jury, and a retrial that's going to be a bench trial. I can't believe it. So these are the victims' names, okay? I'm going to try my very best. Hakiakat Singh Pannag. That is the defendant's father-in-law. Then there is Parmjit Kaur. She was 62, so Hakiakat was 59. Parmjit, 62. I don't want to confuse it now. I think that is his mother-in-law. One of these ladies on the right is his mother-in-law. Then Shalinderjit Kaur, 39, the defendant's wife. And then Amarjit Kaur, 58, the defendant's aunt or mother-in-law. I'll check it again now. I don't want to mix it up. Okay, so those are 4 victims, all shot on the same night. My goodness. So let's do some little backstory here. Gurpreet and Shalinderjit got married in India when he was 20 years old and she was 23 years old. It was an arranged marriage. They initially lived in Bradford, Connecticut with Gurpreet's uncle and cousins for 3 years. They were happy all the time. They never fought, and we've never seen any sign of discord, said one of his cousins. They then moved to Kentucky to stay with other family members, where Gurpreet pursued the purchase of a gas station. This plan apparently didn't work out. Gurpreet then started his own trucking company called Rolling Hills, where he worked 70 to 80 hours per week, delivering goods to distribution centers. So that sounds like that was a successful business and project, right? The picture that you saw before that there, that is of them, Gurpreet and his wife when they were younger, and then at the bottom is a picture of his wife as well. Yeah, Healing Art says, wowzers, what a crime. I know, right? So they learned of a large community of, now please, can someone help me here? Sikhs. I looked up the pronunciation as best I could. Sikhs in Cincinnati, and they decided to move there. So Gurpreet, his wife, and her parents moved into a 3-bedroom apartment together. They had 2 daughters and 1 son. Gurpreet was the main breadwinner of the house. His in-laws apparently worked part-time at a laundromat. So eventually, Gurpreet's father-in-law, now this I read from this source, which I will link below afterwards, which tells a lot of the backstory. It's a reporter who's spoken to all the family members, was at the trial every day, so I do trust the source. Let me just quickly see. Her name is Sonia Chopra, Ohio journalist, Sonia Chopra. And so they said eventually Gurpreet's father-in-law, he struggled with alcoholism, and so it got bad enough for him to move into another apartment. But on this night, he was there in that apartment, right? Okay, thank you. Steel Guitar says Sikhs is correct, G. I want to make sure I say it right. I'm going to do my best, always, right? Yeah, Rob says hopefully justice will be served this time around. Shreya says Sikh is pronounced Sikh. Sikh. I think it's a little bit longer, right? Sikhs? Okay, Sikhs. Right. So I don't know if the father-in-law had another apartment or was just there for the evening for dinner or what, but apparently he was there, at this apartment. Now, Gurpreet put down a deposit for a home in Indiana, with 5 bedrooms, and he wanted to sponsor his parents to emigrate to the USA. But then in March of 2019, his wife found a $20,000 check that was made out to someone called Navkiran Kaur. Oh, okay, wait. So someone here is helping. Kaur. Is it? Navkiran Kaur. Oh, thank you. Right. So the wife was like, so apparently he did put down this deposit for a home, but he was also putting down other deposits. And so as it turns out, Navkiran was his mistress, who he also bought. And now I say Audi because some reports say Audi. Now, Infinity is what another report says. Infinity car is what brand? Infinity. And Infinity SUV is a different brand. But anyway, he put down a down payment for his mistress's house and also bought her an SUV. Gurpreet's wife actually knew who she was. She knew that she was from India. She'd gone through a terrible divorce from a domestic abuser. Her husband had apparently sold their home to a cousin for $1. And so Navkiran needed money to repurchase it. Now, Navkiran lived in the same subdivision where they were building their house. Shalinderjit confronted her husband about it. He, of course, denied the affair. She did not want to divorce him, so she was very upset. She spoke to family members about it. They all suggested, well, it's time to file for divorce. She said she wouldn't hear about divorce. They'd been happily married for 17 years. So this was very, very difficult for her to deal with, of course. And especially knowing, damn, like this woman is like right under my nose. It's someone I know. It's someone who's in the same subdivision. Like she's going to have a house in the same place we have a house. Like what? Joe, Jack Alone, welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so that is a picture on the right-hand side of his mistress. They say former mistress now, okay? That's what they said at the trial in October 2023, and she testified but didn't want to be on camera, and she had an interpreter there. Now, Gurpreet's in-laws owned land in India that was worth $1 million. Do you already feel like it's almost like a life insurance dance, but it's like money motive, it feels like, right? Allegedly, speculatively, of course. He is innocent until proven guilty. Wasn't proven guilty the first time. There was a hung jury. So they had entered into a land deal with one of Gurpreet's relatives. So you see, if they are entering, the in-laws owning this $1 million worth of property, are entering into a deal with Gurpreet's relatives, well, then he's kind of going to have access to the property, the money at some point, right? Is what I think he was thinking. Now, the aunt that was there at the time, the 4 victims. So it was Gurpreet's wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and the wife's aunt. So it would be her mother's sister, right? The 4 victims. So the aunt was actually sponsored by her sister, which is Shalinderjit's mother, to stay with them in the USA. And she just arrived in April. She was so excited to be there. Her son said she'd packed in like silver bangles and colorful clothing as gifts to take over there. And, so she'd just been there. Right? Amarjit, that's the aunt. So wait, I just want to go back quickly here. Let's go back to the 4 victims. Amarjit is the aunt, right? So we've got father-in-law, wife, mother-in-law, and aunt. Okay, those are the 4 victims. Now, to continue here. Hello and welcome, everyone. If you're only joining now, I hope you'll start over later to just gather what on earth this case is about, because it's very interesting, in my opinion, right? So Amarjit had been a widow for a decade and had raised her sons by herself, and she looked forward to living in Cincinnati, flying home to see her sons twice a year. That was her plan. She just got there in April of 2019, right? So she'd barely been there a month when she was murdered. My goodness. Cincinnati, Ohio. I know you all know that I love Cincinnati, Ohio. Why? Because Fritz is there and Fiona, the hippos at the zoo. Debbie, thank you for being a member for 9 months. Now, what happened on April 28th of 2019? Gurpreet woke up at 9 a.m. that day, which is apparently much later than usual, and he stayed at home all day due to pulling a muscle in his back. Reports say maybe from volleyball, so I don't know what that means, if they're just speculating, or did he play volleyball, or I don't know, was that part of the plan? Who knows? But he woke up much later than usual. He stayed home all day due to pulling a muscle in his back. He then cooked lunch for the 3 kids. Remember, him and his wife had 3 kids. Also lived there. They are now aged 16, 13, and 12, and they are safe with family, which I think is with his wife's brother. Okay, so he cooked lunch for his 3 kids while the in-laws went to work at a laundromat. The aunt that had just moved there went out shopping for gifts for family back home, and she actually bought a ticket to go back home for April 30th. She was so excited to go back, visit, and take gifts, so she wasn't there for very long before she planned her first visit back home, right? His wife, and she also wanted to go back home to sort out something with the land deal. There's something there with selling property, and she was hoping to get money from the sale of the property and things like that. Now, his wife then drove the kids to a Punjabi dance practice, which took place from 3 to 4 p.m. Gurpreet spent the late afternoon working on his semi-truck, checking oil levels and fixing a broken tail light, and then he stopped at a gas station and went home. The children spent the evening with their cousins. Whose idea was that? His idea. Relatives testified it was his idea. That they have the kids for the night, you have them for dinner. And when they were coming to drop the kids off back at his house, he said, no, take them to your house, I'll pick them up. So that's a bit of a red flag in the case, right? So, right, the children were with their cousins, they went out for dinner, and they got ice cream. He says when he arrived home, right, he saw the front door wide open, and he found all 4 victims shot to death. All right, so we'll hear a little snippet of that 911 call later. Apparently the 911 call lasted, I think they said about 11 minutes. So Gurpreet was the one who called 911 at 9:40 p.m. to report that his wife and 3 of her relatives had been shot. Cell phone and GPS data put him at the location at 9:11 p.m. Apparently neighbors heard gunshots between 9:15 and 9:30, and they also heard a splash in the pond, where police then searched and found the gun. The one gun that killed everybody. So it sounds to me like they have a lot of evidence in this case, don't you think? So A. Heinemann says, who has time for a mistress working 80 hours a week? Well, was he really working 80 hours, or was he working 40 and then spending 40 with the mistress? How do we know? So he called 911 at 9:40, right? But cell phone and GPS data say he was already there at 9:11 p.m. He apparently knocked on other apartment doors screaming for help. His wife was shot 3 times in the head. His mother-in-law was shot 4 times in the head and once in the arm, and had injuries to her finger and right forearm. His father-in-law was shot 6 times in the head. He had the most wounds and was shot at close range. His aunt was shot twice, or her aunt, her aunt was shot twice in the head. The smoke detector was going off from a pan of tea that had burnt, and I also read later that there was actually some dinner being made on the stove as well. On the call, he said that they were all bleeding from the head. Okay. Yeah, Forensic Bureau says, at the location at 9:11, gunshots heard at 9:15. Well then. Ooh, and then that splash in the pond, and they're like, ta-da, here's the gun that killed everyone. Just matches all the ballistics, like, oh my goodness. Now, Gurpreet's wife was in the kitchen making tea when she was shot. His father-in-law was in bed when he was shot. The mother-in-law and the aunt were in, what I could see there is the living area. I was trying to gather, like, where is that? So if you look at these little arrows, Parmjit and Amarjit are there. What it looks like couches. So it looks like the living area. His wife in the kitchen making tea, maybe making dinner. And Hakiakat, Pannag Singh was in his bed and had his comforter apparently like wrapped around him. My goodness. Amy, welcome to membership. Shiraz says that's a whole lot of ammo. Apparently 18 shots in total fired. Okay. So, Melissa loves true crime, says dumb criminals. Retired FBI agent Kevin Horan told jurors that Westchester police asked him to analyze Singh's cell phone data from the night of the murders. It showed that Singh's phone was within 60 feet of the apartment at 9:11 p.m. Okay, so these are some pictures from the crime scene that were shared on X during the trial by local reporters that were there at the time. Sure, okay. And so they say on the stand, Harmanjot Kaur said that they immediately drove to Singh's apartment 2 miles away. This is now the family who had the kids, right, for dinner. While in the parking lot preparing to drop the children off at their home, where their mother, grandparents, and great aunt were waiting, Kaur called Gurpreet, she testified. Harmanjot told jurors that her cousin asked her just to take the children to the apartment that she shared with Maninda so that Singh could pick them up on his way home. So he told you to take the kids back to your apartment? John Marshall, Butler County assistant prosecutor, asked Harmanjot in court. Yes, they replied. And he would pick them up from your apartment, Marshall asked. Yes, Kaur said. Even though you were in the parking lot at Wind Tree Drive? Yes. So even though, apparently, Gurpreet had said it was his idea for the kids, like, you go for dinner and ice cream. And then the family were in the parking lot at the home, ready to drop them off around 9 p.m.-ish. He said, pointing the wrong way, he said, no, you take them to your house. So that's before the shootings even happened, right? Take them to your house. I'll pick them up there afterwards. And they're like, what? But like, we're right here. No, you take them to your house. I'll be there soon. And then the next minute, four people are shot to death? Quadruple homicide? So neighbors heard a splash in the pond. I'll show you again on the map. At the apartment complex after hearing gunshots between 9:15 and 9:30 p.m. The gun was found by police in the pond. Gurpreet's hands, this is like solid evidence in my opinion. Gurpreet's hands tested positive for gunshot residue after the police got a search warrant. He said, I see where this is going. Where is my right? Whoever did this is getting away from you guys. So he got ultra defensive, of course. He then stopped talking and asked for an attorney, which is the right thing to do, by the way. Innocent or proven guilty, it's the right thing to do. Ask for an attorney, all of that. But nonetheless, it's pretty interesting evidence that he had gunshot residue on his hands, right? Also, Pinche Becky Given says at least the children didn't witness this horror. Absolutely. Shame. But now the children, without any, they're now with in-laws from the wife's side, but still. My goodness. So the defense says it's because he touched the victims that he was bound to test positive for gunshot residue, because he ran into the house and found them all there and was trying to help his wife, and that's what his story is, right? So the defense is like, well, obviously that's why he's going to have gunshot residue on his hands. The defense also says that his rights were violated in the police interview because English is his second language and he needed an interpreter throughout the trial in October of 2023. He told his parents he has no clue why he's been arrested, and they believe him. His wife's family say that he had two motives. One was to marry his mistress, and two was to inherit land from his in-laws. Gurpreet married Shalinderjit because he would get a green card, and she would inherit the land from her father, and then he must have realized that Hakiakat was not dying anytime soon, so he killed them, is what relatives speculate. He's a mass murderer. We demand a minimum of 4 death penalties for murder. Life isn't acceptable. Okay. Onyx says, as you say, giant red flag. I know, it's quite sus, right? Now, on July 2nd of 2019, Gurpreet Singh was arrested at a Walmart in Bradford, Connecticut. So they said he had allegedly, traveled. Of course, he's trucking business. He traveled all over the place, but they're like, did he try to run or what? But anyway, he was arrested in a Walmart parking lot in Bradford, Connecticut. He was indicted on 4 counts of aggravated murder in April of 2019, so then arrested in July, officially arraigned and all of that. His parents have been denied visas because their son is charged with murder. The parents are aware of the mistress, but they sympathize with him, and they said that he was just trying to help her with her marital and financial struggles. So they're still in denial, unfortunately. Like, what? He was just trying to help. She's not a mistress. Just felt sorry for her. So they also boasted about his $250K trucking business, having $300,000 worth of property in India, and that he was the breadwinner of the family, saying there's no motive for him for money. But he would have made a lot of money if this plan worked out for him, which is a bit of a dumb plan, right? Ava says, Walmart, always Walmart. Sorry, Walmart. Sorry, Walmart. Now, Gurpreet fainted as the charges were read to him in 2019. I'll show you a clip of that as well. Oh my. Look at him go. Like he was listening to the charges being read and then suddenly just like, and they're like, oh my word, let's help this guy up. He pleaded not guilty and the judge denied him bond. Thank goodness. Quadruple homicide, I'm just saying, like, oh my goodness. And obviously ties overseas. If he had fled, they would have never found him again, I'm sure. So during his 3-week October 2023 trial, many Sikh community members attended. The defense maintains that their client is innocent, as they should, that's their job, saying this was a professional hit over the father-in-law's financial problems, and that there was land mafia in India coordinating the attack. The FBI and Interpol are onto this land mafia, according to the defense, and Gurpreet, they say, ran out of the house when 3 masked men with baseball bats broke into the apartment. So, wow, he's so lucky, right? These 3 masked men broke in and they had baseball bats. He ran out and everybody else was shot. So, forget the baseball bats. They're all shot. Like, okay. Interesting story, defense. But you never know. You never know. Prosecutors said that Gurpreet had a rocky relationship with his wife and father-in-law. So they painted a bit of a different picture. So then, 11 jurors agreed that Gurpreet was guilty on all counts of aggravated murder. It was 14 hours of deliberation. But there was one juror that would not budge, and a mistrial was declared. I will show you clips as well of 2 of the jurors speaking out and saying how disappointed they were, and that one juror was like made up her mind at the beginning already. And they're like, did she even listen to the evidence at all? You know, I think also because it's a death penalty case, that would weigh heavily on some people, of course, right? So Scott says, right, and they had land sharks. Shiraz says this might be important. Did his wife have a brother? I don't know now. I'm not certain now. I've looked at so many of the family members and everything. Now I'm not too sure. If you know, let me know. I'll have to look into that again. So one of the prosecutors, Mike Moser, tried to get the judge, Gregory Howard, kicked off the case, accusing him of bias against the state. And that prosecutor also said he's going to recuse himself for this next trial, and if he's denied that, he's going to take it to the Supreme Court. So I did see a different name listed now for this upcoming trial for the prosecution, but that's quite hectic as well. Pernille said, yeah, 11 wants a hung jury. So yes, this was a hung jury and a mistrial was declared, which the family said it was so painful. Not only to see the crime scene photos, to be there, you know, and go through all of this, and they flew from all over the world to attend this trial. But yes, it ended in a hung jury. Rochelle says you can never read the jury, I guess. So this prosecutor says the judge showed bias against the state. They said Howard, that's the judge, steered the jury into a deadlock, denied the jury's request to review a transcript, and failed to remove 2 jurors for alleged misconduct. The prosecutor wrote in the filings to the Ohio Supreme Court. He also alleged that he repeatedly held off-the-record conferences in his chambers about material issues, displayed an offensive sign in his office, I don't know what that was, made crude and sexual jokes to counsel, and failed to conduct the first trial with a decorum required for a capital case. The judge denied the claims, removed the sign from his office, and said that he will refrain from any similar attempts at humor. Yeah, okay, sounds like a good idea. So then, for the retrial, Gurpreet has waived his right to a jury trial. So guess what? A bench trial will take place where a 3-judge panel will decide his fate. He faces the death penalty if convicted. Now, apparently, this is one of the defense strategies. They thought this would be the best way to go, would be to have a bench trial. And it's been speculated that they think maybe a 3-judge panel would be more sympathetic towards the defendant for the death penalty. That maybe he'll get life without parole or something like that, is what I read. So, if convicted. Okay, this starts on April 29th of 2024. After 2 years in jail, he sold his assets to pay his lawyer's fees, but he had debts and was declared indigent. He has a new team of public defenders for his retrial, which are Mark Wiesorek and Alex Deerdorf, which are death penalty qualified attorneys, and he is charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder. The family is again going to be there. Shame, man. Flying from all over the place. The family lives all over the place. Some lived in England, some in Australia, some all over the United States, some in Canada. So they're flying in from all over the place to watch this trial. They said they're going to be there again, right? Jennifer said, the judge must be related to or pals with Judge Kaur. Well, this one was showing bias towards the state. Yes. So the state was not happy with how things were going. I think in the Delphi trial, the defense is not happy, right? Okay, so I really hope that they will get justice. This will be interesting. I don't know if they're going to be streaming it or not. Last time I see one news channel streamed it in October of 2023, so we shall see. Okay. So Brenda said that answer to does he have a brother? I think the question was actually, does the wife have a brother? Does he have a brother? He doesn't have a brother. He's the only son of the parents. So he doesn't, but maybe, I think the wife has a brother, yes. Okay, so now we've got lots still to look at. Of course, we've got so many things. That's just the presentation. So what I'm going to show you now is, let me quickly show you the Maptime over here. I'm not going to play the Maptime song now because it's just quick. We got to power through all this so I don't keep you here forever. Okay, so if we go here, it is in... Take my picture off there. It is Wind Tree Drive. This is this lakefront fishing pond. This is in Westchester, Ohio, and it's in this apartment complex. And apparently it's in one of these ponds that the gun was found. I think it's this one. This lakefront fishing pond. It's either this one or this one from what I could see, but I think it's this one. So neighbors actually heard a splash, and then police looked in there, and yes, they found the gun. And they said it was just one gun that killed everyone. Okay, now what I want to show you, oh wait, I've got clips to show you as well. So let's do that quickly.
Court-ordered break in the Gurpreet Singh quadruple murder trial is no breather for the victim's loved ones. Some flew halfway around the world hoping to get justice. Thanks so much for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Tanya O'Rourke.
And I'm Craig McKee. You know, it's been a painful 2 weeks here with more difficult days still ahead. They spoke with WCPO 9 News reporter Larry Seabird, though. Larry, so they haven't missed a single day of testimony?
Not a single one, Craig. Once they stepped out to keep their eyes away from graphic photos of their mom and sister's bodies. But they left work nearly a month ago and came here every day to sample American justice, no matter how much it hurts.
In the middle of Butler County super courtroom, family of 4 people shot to death execution style struggled with every witness, exhibit, and cross-examination in Gurpreet Singh's weeks-long murder trial.
I continue to, cry inside, even though sometimes tears also come, but it is very difficult. I miss them.
Amarjit Singh lost niece Shalinderjit, brother-in-law Hakiakat, along with 2 sisters. Parmjit, his older childhood protector who fought off bullies, and Amarjit, his younger sibling who has 2 sons of her own. She lived part-time with Grinder in Melbourne, Australia. Along with his brother Jasdeep, who lives in Toronto, they left home a month ago to help their family cope in court.
Even though almost 3.5 years have happened, we still having difficulty getting over with.
Attorneys for Gurpreet Singh insist Butler County prosecutors wrongly pinned the crime on him.
Gurpreet would never kill his family, correct?
No, sir.
He would never kill anyone.
No, sir.
Gurpreet Singh married and has 3 children with Amarjit's niece and Jasdeep's cousin. But in court, prosecutors introduced jurors to a woman claiming to be Singh's mistress. Witnesses claim he spent thousands on a luxury SUV and home payments for her, straining his finances. 2 of Singh's cousins testified that Gurpreet asked them to take the kids to dinner the night of the murders. Forensics experts then told jurors phone and car records put Singh at the scene minutes before someone killed his wife, her parents, and her aunt.
Quick pause. Someone was saying here in chat, I think it has to be unanimous. Yes, even with this 3-judge panel, they have to have a unanimous verdict as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see this bench trial if they do stream it. Okay, let's continue.
It's really painful. Even nowadays, even every day in a court, they are presenting every evidence and all these things. Even my mom's phone, there was a really painful because I gifted her on when she came here.
Singh's 3 children now live in California with their great uncle who refused to let them go into foster care. Families say they're getting
So that's the answer to where the kids are, okay?
plenty of support, but this trial is key to moving forward.
Singh's defense begins making its case tomorrow morning. The victim's loved ones are so convinced of his guilt. All of them told me jail time is just not enough for them. They want the death penalty. Craig?
It is my...
And then unfortunately, it didn't happen. They got a hung jury and a mistrial was declared.
and everyone else's desire in this room that this case reach a conclusion with this jury. And I'm going to give them the opportunity to do that if they believe that they can do that.
I can tell you.
Okay, so now we're going to see 2 of the former jurors speaking out from that October 2023 trial, right? And just saying, oh man, because 11 were all for this guy, unanimous, he's guilty, and 1 juror wouldn't budge. Ali B from Tennessee says, so he's asking for a bench trial over a jury? Indeed he is. Indeed he is. So it's going to be a bench trial now instead of a jury trial, okay?
Two jurors with opposing views were not getting along. Words like argumentative and hostile and condescending, they were all used in that deliberation room. Now, today, early on, prosecutors asked that those two jurors be replaced with alternate jurors. The defense disagreed. They wanted an immediate mistrial. Well, neither request was granted, but at the end of the day, the jury was hung 11-1.
So, apparently, there were two jurors that already throughout the trial had questionable conduct, is what some of the other jurors said and what the prosecution was saying. And so the prosecution wanted those two jurors replaced with alternates, but the judge said no. And the defense was like, that's it, it's a mistrial. And when they were not granted a mistrial at that point, then they said, okay, but they want to keep those jurors on. Because, of course, it's risky. It would be a problem then. If there was a problem identified, unfortunately, one of those two jurors was allegedly one of the ones that wouldn't budge on their verdict. Okay, so carrying on.
There are only 4 words to describe my decision to move forward with another trial. And those 4 words are yes and hell yes.
Gurpreet Singh, the man accused of murdering his wife, in-laws, and wife's aunt inside their Westchester apartment in 2019, will be retried.
He wanted finality, and I truly, Charlie Ridgers, I believe that he is innocent, and he has maintained his innocence from day one. So, he's disappointed that it was a not guilty verdict, but again, it's better than the alternative.
Yeah, it's better than the alternative because it's a death penalty case. And so Dollygood 66 says death penalty is still an option, right? Absolutely. It's still a death penalty case. His retrial starts with a bench trial because he's now waived his right to a jury trial. He's going for a bench trial, which is apparently a new defense strategy for him. And so because they think the judges might be more lenient on him and give him LWOP instead of the death penalty is what I read. That was what's speculated from legal experts, right? Because people are saying, why would he do this? I don't know, man. Why would he do this? Sure. Joe Jackalone says, people are the worst, makes you want to get another dog. I know, right? Or a cat. I had 2 of them. So, yes. So it's going to be April 29th, next week, Monday, depending on when you're watching this. We're watching this on Sunday, April 21st, together. April 29th, this bench trial starts. And I just think it's very interesting. Don't you think this case is so interesting? Like what's happening here? And quadruple homicide in Westchester, Ohio. Death penalty case? Oh man, there's a lot on the table here.
We now know the jury was deadlocked with 11 jurors wanting to convict and 1, juror 83, in favor of an acquittal.
I mean, it makes me sick. I feel like justice wasn't served.
Wesley and Tony are 2 jurors who feel Singh is guilty.
Justice wasn't served today. Plain and simple.
These men say juror 83 had her mind made up even before the evidence was deliberated.
She told us the first day of deliberation that she's not budging. This juror thought that there was endless possibilities that could have happened and that she wasn't willing to accept the evidence.
While
oh dear, they seem quite pissed off about it, right? Evil Queen said, Grizzly, is he out on bond? Nope, he's being held on no bond at the Butler County Jail.
jurors have the right to make up their own minds and choose what witnesses to believe. These jurors say at times Juror 83 was unwilling to deliberate.
I think she came in with a conclusion and she was not willing to budge on her opinion. I think her conclusion was set before trial.
Juror 83 declined to do an interview, but according to transcripts from when the courts questioned jurors about the arguing in the deliberation room, 83 said, "I've been called names. I've been told I was stupid, ignorant." And during deliberations, jurors did ask for the transcripts of one of the BCI employees who testified. This BCI employee testified about DNA and blood found on Gurpreet Singh's clothes. Well, Judge Greg Howard denied that request. He did not give them the transcript. Prosecutor Mike Moser very fired up tonight over that, saying they should have been given that transcript. And one of the jurors I spoke with did confirm that was a point of conflict for Juror 83. Reporting live tonight in Hamilton, Karen Johnson, WLWT News.
All rise.
Last we saw Gary Hans, that courtroom prayer, his stare toward the sky brought only tears. 5 days later,
Still we are crying every day because of that.
This grieving son from Melbourne, Australia is in California, barely sleeping and refusing to go home until a...
So this would be the aunts, one of the aunts, there were 4 victims. One was the aunt, right? It's one of her sons.
Butler County jury decides Gurpreet Singh's fate. Prosecutors say Singh executed his wife Shalinderjit Kaur, her parents Hakiakat and Parmjit, and Parmjit's sister Amarjit in Singh's apartment 3 years ago. Amarjit was Han's mother. For 3 weeks, he suffered through testimony with gory details of his loved one's final moments in Butler County to see jurors give up without a verdict. Court transcripts show there was bickering, screaming, and hostility between 2 jurors over one member's doubt about DNA evidence against Singh.
What did you think?
Because it was shocking for whole family.
Does this make sense to you?
Doesn't make any sense to us. Yeah, because he murdered my family. There's blood there everywhere. Like, I don't know why. It's just like that.
Somehow, Hans thanked the jury and Butler County's court system, convinced the next trial will be different. That includes Singh's 3 children who now live in California in the same house where Hans stays.
Even the kids want justice for their mother as well. Because this coward didn't kill one mother that day, my mother. He killed 3 mothers that day. They're going to get justice, but justice just delayed. Yeah.
It's why his family plans to be in court for the next hearing and every one that follows, refusing to go away until justice is theirs.
Kelly and Megan, good morning.
Shame. So they're going to be there again. All the family flying in from everywhere, going to be there for this bench trial starting next week, Monday. So this is the latest clip now from WLWT, because there was a hearing just a couple of days ago about, this upcoming trial, to make sure that this defendant doesn't want a jury trial, that he's okay with this bench trial. That's his choice.
Morning to you both. Barring any surprises, a hearing this afternoon will mark the end of the pre-trial phase ahead of Gurpreet Singh's retrial. Police say the 41-year-old killed his wife, her aunt, and 2 in-laws at the family's apartment in Westchester back in 2019. Singh's capital murder trial, the first version, if you will, got underway a year and a half ago. Prosecutors at the time cited money woes and an extramarital affair as 2 reasons why Singh was the prime suspect. His defense team argued there were other suspects that investigators failed to look into. That courtroom showdown ended with a mistrial because the jury was not able to reach a unanimous verdict. 11 jurors wanted to convict Singh. 1 juror was in favor of an acquittal. At 1:30 this afternoon, Singh is due back here in court for a final motions hearing. After that, he's set to be tried again 1 week from Monday. That'll be on April 29th. But instead of facing a jury this go-round, it's expected that Singh will make his case before a 3-judge panel. And, of course, we'll have it all covered for you. Reporting live this morning here in Hamilton, Todd Dykes,
Really hope so. Are you going to cover it, sir? It'll be interesting to watch. Whether I cover it or not, I don't know. I'll have to see if you guys are interested or not, but I think it'll be interesting to watch either way. So WLWT, they say they're going to cover it, right? Just a crazy Swiftie says, wow, he killed 3 mothers that day. Heartbreaking, right? Forensic Fury says, justice for the victims in this grieving family. Yes. Lenova, did I say your name? Nova? I'm not familiar with this case prior to now. Well, I'm glad to bring it to you. I wasn't familiar with it at the time either. I just recently learned about it and I'm like, what? Like, this case is so crazy. So, okay, those are the clips I wanted to show you. Now, let's quickly look at a few things here, which would be here. This would be the indictment. Just stand by. I just got to move it across. Thank you to Grizzly Cat for finding this indictment. I was looking all day for where is this indictment? I'd love to find the PCA. We'll be contacting the courts for that to see if they will be able to give that to us as well. So, State of Ohio plaintiff versus Gurpreet Singh, State of Ohio, County of Butler. Okay, in the year of 2019, the jurors of the grand jury of the State of Ohio, within and for the body of the county aforesaid on the oath in the name and by authority of the State of Ohio, do find and present that. So there's 4 counts of aggravated murder. On or about April 29th of 2019, in Butler County, Ohio, Gurpreet Singh did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of another, which constitutes the offense of aggravated murder, an unclassified felony in violation of that code and against the peace and dignity of the State of Ohio. Specification: the grand jurors further find and specify pursuant to that code that the offender had a firearm on or about the offender's person or under the offender's control while committing the offense and displayed the firearm, brandished the firearm, indicated that the offender possessed the firearm, and used it to facilitate the offense. specification. The grand jurors further find and specify that the aforesaid offense at the bar was part of a course of conduct involving the purposeful killing of or attempt to kill 2 or more persons by the offender, contrary to and in violation of those codes in Ohio, right? Wow. Okay. So you could see here 4 counts of aggravated murder, a death penalty case. Okay. So, did you know that in South Africa we don't have jury trials? Of course, now I live in Switzerland, but they have bench trials in South Africa. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how this trial goes, and what will the judges decide? Don't be lenient now if he is guilty. If he is guilty. I don't know, man. I want full justice for the victims, of course. All right, so now I've still got clips and things to show you. So let's go like this. Look at him passing out here in court. Sorry, I've got to always resize for us. This is when he was read his charges after he was arraigned, which was, he was arrested in July of 2019 in a Walmart parking lot, okay? And when he was read his charges, this is what happened. Wait, go to the beginning. There's no sound. A little bit of sound. There he goes. Oh my word. Damn. It doesn't look fake to me, right? I think he fainted. Sure. Wow. Listen. That was loud. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've got that. Then let's quickly look at, this is Bodycam. I want to show you. This is, oh shame, this former, I just want to there's many clips I want to show you. Just hold on. Former mistress testifies. Yes. Okay, so let's boost this one.
For killing his wife and in-laws in 2019, watches his former girlfriend take the stand. The jury also heard the 911 call from the night of the murders. David Winter was in the courtroom to watch the drama play out today and joins us live now with the developments we learned. David.
Yeah, Adam, let's start with that 911 call. It lasts about 11 and a half minutes in total. Here's a 15-second clip.
How many people are down? Four. You say they're bleeding? Yes, they are. Okay, have they been shot? Have they been stabbed? I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, when that playback.
Okay, so that was him calling, right? Gurpreet Singh called 911. They said the call lasted about 11 and a half minutes, so I haven't heard the full call, but they at least played us a snippet there. Also, someone was asking when I said we have bench trials in South Africa, also in Switzerland. From everything I've researched, remember, I've just moved here. Still trying to figure out everything, just like living here, like the trash system. It's a whole thing. It's a thesis, okay? But when I did research, they did say, in any case, there are no juries in Switzerland. It's all, they say, in the canton of Zurich, for example, judges are normally elected, be it by the people, district court judges, or by the cantonal parliament, just for interest's sake. Okay, so Ravin Plume says he faked the faint, he held his head up. Okay, we can look at that again.
When that playback was over, Singh hung his head and he just shook it, and his attorney patted him on the back, comforting him. Now let's go back to that former mistress of Singh. She testified in court today again, and while she was having to speak through an interpreter and she would not go on camera, what she said was absolutely riveting. It's presumably the first time Gurpreet Singh has seen his former mistress, Navkaran Kaur, since April 28, 2019, the night of the murders.
My ex-husband would beat me. After that, Gurpreet would call me, text message me. He was funny and he was nice. I liked talking to him.
Did it become romantic?
So just to let you know as well, we looked at this earlier. Apparently the mistress had gone through a terrible divorce from what sounds like domestic abuser, and she's saying here in court that her former husband used to beat her and things like that. And then remember we read that the ex-husband sold their property for $1 to a cousin, and she needed money to purchase it back. So her, boyfriend, who's the defendant in the trial that's coming up, and he was trying to help her buy the house.
Yes.
At that time, did you know that the defendant was married?
Yes.
Did the two of you begin a sexual relationship?
After my divorce.
Also after the divorce, Nav Karan says Singh gave her $20,000 for a down payment on a house and gave her an Infiniti SUV to drive.
That is an Audi. That's not an SUV. Is that an Infiniti? I don't know. I don't know Infiniti is Audi. That's an Audi, right? Look at it. That's where I got it from. Okay.
Additionally, the jury is getting a better idea of Singh's whereabouts the night of the murder. Security cam video of a UDF down the street from Singh's apartment captures him putting 7 gallons in his car at 9:05 p.m. A cell phone extraction expert shows there was no activity on his cell phone between a call he took at 9:03 while he was gassing up and the time he called 911, saying he came home to find his wife, her parents, and her aunt shot to death.
If my phone isn't interacted with from, let's say, 9:05 p.m. until about 9:51 p.m., you wouldn't be able to tell what I was doing during that period of time, correct?
Correct. The defense pressed the cell expert further, confirming there were no pictures on Singh's phone of him holding the presumed murder weapon, no angry texts between he and the victims, and no internet searches on how to cover up blood splatter.
There's not messages here that say, finally did it, finally killed them, I can be with you, right?
Correct. Back to the former mistress, she says she...
So they're like, because Uncle Google didn't show up any sus results, and because he didn't text his mistress, hey, now we can be together, don't worry, got rid of my family, and then it's like, he's innocent. But that gunshot residue on his hands and other evidence, I think it seems like pretty strong evidence that the state has against him, right?
She and Singh had talked about marriage.
Defendant asked you if he had been single, would you consider marrying?
Yes. And I said, if my parents agreed, then I would.
That cell phone expert, by the way, testified that Singh deleted the calls between he and his former mistress.
Busted. No, sorry. I'm just mean like, oh, but they were deleted calls. That's always interesting.
The day of the murders. Now, she incidentally says that she has not spoken to Singh since that night, and she has since remarried. In Hamilton, this is David Wayne.
Oh, damn, she moved on. Since the night of the murder, she's like, that's it, not talking to him. So they spoke on the phone. So there are no dodgy texts, but I don't know what they said in the calls. But she hasn't spoken to him since and moved on. Wow. Dr. Berry, psychologist, responds, hello to you. Thank you for being here. You said hello and glad to catch this one. I'm glad that you're catching this one as well. Happy Sunday to everyone who's joining. I hope that if you're only joining now, you'll like and share, that you'll subscribe, become part of this community, and that you'll watch from the beginning when the replay is ready for you with timestamps, because I think this case is quite interesting. Let me know what you think after watching it. Okay, so what does this one say? Gunshot evidence shown. Okay, let's watch this one quickly. I'm going to boost it again for us.
Police found gunshot residue on Singh's left hand. Now, prosecutors say this bombshell helps prove that he murdered his wife, her parents, and his wife's aunt 3 years ago. I want to bring in WCPO 9 News reporter Larry Seward in court again today. So, Larry, what does that gunshot evidence mean?
According to Ohio's Bureau of Criminal Investigations expert on the stand today, Singh either pulled the trigger, was nearby when someone else did, or he handled something that had gunshot primer on it. That witness that testified today did not want her face on camera, so we did not record her during testimony. Her name is Donna Schweitzinger. She told jurors beyond those 3 scenarios that we just laid out, her test cannot say what happened exactly. Earlier, another BCI firearm expert, Andrew McClellan, testified that one weapon fired every bullet found in the victim's and around Singh's apartment the night someone killed his wife, Shalinderjit, in-laws Hakiakat in Pannag, and Parmjit Kaur and Parmjit's sister, Amarjit. On cross-examination, Singh's defense attacked any thought that Gurpreet killed him.
It could be that if there was a victim shot at close range to the head, based on your knowledge of GSR, that victim's hair would have GSR throughout, correct?
Yeah.
And so if
So this is the defense attorney.
an individual grabbed the victim by the head or hair, we would expect that individual to have GSR on his hands, right?
Correct.
And with secondary transfer, if you touch your hands together, it can transfer from one hand to the next, right?
Yes, it can.
Testimony about blood found on that red shirt, jeans, and boots he wore the night of those killings says it came from Singh's wife, Shalinderjit. In video shown earlier in trial, Singh told detectives he held his wife and tried to give her water after discovering his family members shot. Another BCI agent told jurors that they found blood splatter on the left sleeve of that red shirt that Gurpreet wore that night. Testimony resumes tomorrow morning. We're live in Hamilton.
Okay, so we got that one. Let's just see what this one was. Former Westchester. Oh yeah, this former Westchester officer breaks down on the stand. Shame, look at him testifying here.
12 News live at 5. I'm Kyle Linsky.
I'm Paula Tody. The jury gets its first look at the alleged girlfriend of the Westchester man accused of killing his wife and 3 of her family members.
This is just one revelation at the start of week 2 in the death penalty murder trial of Gurpreet Singh. Our David Winter looks at what the jury saw and also heard in court today. David, good evening.
Good evening, Kyle. I'm actually in a conference room that's behind the courtroom right now, and it was an emotional day of testimony. There were some tears, and there were some new insights as to what may have happened that night 3.5 years ago. The body cam of Sergeant Travis Oakes the night of the murders.
Everybody inside's deceased. What is that? Dead. That's why it's very, very important for you to hold together and help me out so we can figure out what happened tonight. Okay, Gary? Need you to be strong for me, Gary.
Sergeant Oakes was brought in to question witnesses and collect evidence at the murder scene. Upon cross-examination, the defense questioned the sergeant about its theory that it was not the defendant who shot the victims, it was the Sikh mafia, due to a land deal gone bad with one of the victims.
You were aware as part of your investigation that Shabazz and Khalid Khan were known as being part of the land mafia in India.
I did hear that, yes.
Gurpreet Singh's were just the first tears the jury would encounter on this day of testimony. Officer Adam Gesowich also responded to the scene that night.
What, if anything, did you see?
Officer Gesowich overcome with emotion when he recalled the 4 victims all shot multiple times in the head.
It was provided to us by BCI, actually, their dive team.
Detective Kevin Berger collected dozens of pieces of evidence at the scene. He showed the jury a Ruger SR9 9mm handgun that was found in the lake behind apartment 154, the murder scene. Police say it is the murder weapon. He also held up a portion of the $10,000 in cash found in the apartment. Then the jury got its first look at Gurpreet's alleged extramarital girlfriend, Navkiran Kaur, to whom evidence showed he gifted $20,000 for a down payment on a home in Indianapolis. And coming up at 6, the jury gets to hear for the first time from civilian witnesses who say they heard what happened that night and saw a man, or at least one man, emerge from apartment number 154.
Oh dear. Also, Frankie says he murdered them on the same day his new trial begins. No, his trial begins on April 29th and the crime happened on April 19th. Not? Not making me doubt myself. April 19th. Let's double check. We're going for it. We're looking. What happened on that day? April 28th. April 28th. So almost. Sure. But what a long time to get to this again, because there was already so many delays because of the pandemic and many motions filed and all sorts of things. They finally went to trial, and then there was a hung jury. Oh, no, shame, man. Kathleen's like, extramarital girlfriend. Right, okay, interesting words there. So I've got a few more clips to show you, so you look at those. This one said, victim's friend testifies about possible motive for the murder. So let's listen to this one quickly.
2019 quadruple homicide makes a searing accusation on the stand today.
David Winter has been reporting on the Gurpreet Singh murder trial and has details on today's bombshell testimony. David.
Yeah, Paula, the prosecution is painting a picture of a troubled immigrant family from India, where the defendant, Gurpreet Singh, and his father-in-law, Hakiakat Pannag, were having financial dealings, and those dealings were reaching a boiling point.
Amrit Tawana says he met with his friend, a bruised and crying Hakiakat Singh, 2 months before he and 3 members of his family were murdered.
Did he tell you where the bruises had come from or how he got them?
He got something, like he pushing him down, you know what I mean, like beat him with something, maybe a stick or something.
So Hakiakat told you that he was pushed down or beat?
Yes.
Did he say who had done that?
Gurpreet Singh, the man accused of shooting.
Damn. So that friend of the father-in-law says that Gurpreet, that the father-in-law told him that Gurpreet beat him with a stick. Whoa, 2 months before. Oh my.
In the head in April 2019, his wife, her parents, and her aunt. Amrit testified Hakiakat told him Gurpreet beat him because he wanted from Hakiakat proceeds from a $400,000 land sale in India.
And when you said he asked him to, I can't get exactly right, to sell something to get money?
Yes.
The prosecution called Ajaib Singh to the stand. 2 of the victims were his sisters. He said he spoke with one of them hours before she was murdered.
Because I grew up with her, I could tell from her tone that she is scared for something.
But upon cross-examination, the defense pointedly asked the witness about that phone call.
She didn't say Gurpreet is holding us hostage.
No.
Oh my. Also, AC. You and me both. You got the same pet peeve as me. Wish you could find a better word than bombshell. I think I'm allergic to that word. I don't like it. I don't think I've ever used it. I never will, okay? If I use it, oh dear, something's not right. I'm always like, bombshell, really? And you know when they say slaying, so I'm like, no, not slayings. Okay, so this one says body cam footage shown to jury. We've also got some other body cam to look at, so hold on 1 second. Let's look at this quickly.
Show how emotional Singh was after police responded after he called 911. That was a clip played by the defense. Now, prosecutors, though, played other videos, including one where Gurpreet was questioned at the scene and, according to police's testimony, never once mentioned a word about seeing masked intruders with bats. Prosecutors are trying to show Singh's story changed over time. Also today, prosecutors showed jurors a photo of the pond. BCI agents pulled the murder weapon from, according to prosecutors, and showed them a graphic of the pond in relation to the balcony of the apartment where 4 victims were murdered. The distance between the two, almost 36 feet, and prosecutors labeled the balcony the throw area. Also today, an up-close look at the 9mm gun. It shows the serial number had been drilled off. Prosecutors here trying to show the murders were premeditated. A new name was also mentioned today in court, Navkiran Kaur.
Is Navkiran?
Quick pause. So someone says, Ruffin says a bench trial decided by 1 judge. Not in this death penalty case. It's a 3-judge panel, and they have to unanimously agree.
A blood relation to this defendant?
No, sir.
And what's your understanding of their relationship?
She was a extramarital affair with Mr. Singh, with Gurpreet Singh.
And prosecutors also showed the jury some mortgage papers they say they found in the apartment. On those papers, it has Kaur's name along with Singh's name. Prosecutors claim Singh gifted his mistress $20,000 for a down payment on a house in Indianapolis. Reporting live.
The cars in the background always so loud, right? Shame, these poor reporters. Okay, now what I want to show you is this. Okay, this is Bodycam. I mean, all of these videos look the same from what I can see. So let's just go like this. Back it up a little bit.
3+20. Have the caller meet us out front and wave us down if they can. What's the address again? What was the address again? Is this one? 4562. Be on the right side.
And then we just see a small clip of him in the distance there. There he is. And that's it for this footage, really. So it sounds like he threw the gun from the balcony, right? Okay, so that's what we have for that. And then, just so we make sure how this is going to work, they say Gurpreet Singh retrial to begin this month. Let's quickly go over this. So, Gurpreet Singh retrial to begin this month. Defense confident in 3-judge panel decision. The capital murder retrial of Gurpreet Singh, who is accused of the 2019 Westchester killing of his wife, Westchester Township, right? Okay. Of the killing of his wife and 3 family members, is scheduled to begin April 29th in the large, super Butler County Common Pleas courtroom. Singh's defense team, his third, is confident of the decision to waive a jury and in their ability to win the case. Attorney Mark Wizarek told the Journal News, "We are confident that we are making the right choice based on our theory of litigation and our interpretation of the evidence." In October of 2022, the jury, it was 2023, wasn't it? The jury found Singh's first death penalty trial deadlocked after nearly 2 weeks of testimony and 14 hours. It was 2023, I'm sure. Wasn't it? Wait, I'm just going to double check here. Oh, 2022. 2022. Damn, time flies. Okay. October 2022, the jury was deadlocked after nearly 2 weeks of testimony and 14 hours of deliberation. It doesn't even sound like that long of deliberating, right? But to be deadlocked then and just for this one juror to just say, that's it, I'm not budging, this is my decision. All the other 11 jurors initially, except one, right? 11 of them said he's guilty, unanimous, and the one just wouldn't budge, right? So they said that was after 14 hours of deliberation. They said no more time would help them because the one person just said they're not changing their mind. Judge Greg Howard declared a mistrial when the jury indicated it was hung and did not believe any further deliberations would serve a useful purpose. Wizarek and attorney Alexandria Deerdorf, who were retained by Singh after his first defense team withdrew following the first trial, and he briefly had been appointed a defense team by the court. "We are not planning on losing," his defense now says. "We believe we can win this case." In November, the 41-year-old former truck driver waived his right to a jury trial. But the judge wants to make sure that Singh doesn't have a last-minute change of heart. Thus, the need for a hearing on April 9th, hearing for jury excuses. It's the last pre-trial hearing scheduled before trial, which happened, and they say they're going ahead with it, right? A death penalty case before a 3-judge panel is a rarity. The last one in Butler County was 13 years ago when Greg O.C. of Westchester was convicted by a panel that consisted of judges Noah Powers, Charles Pater, and Patricia Oney. O.C. was convicted of aggravated murder, aggravated burglary, and aggravated robbery and tampering with evidence for stabbing David Williams to death on February 14th of 2009. Howard, then a defense attorney, was one of the 2 attorneys who represented that defendant. Just as in a jury trial, the verdict by a 3-judge panel in the guilt phase must be unanimous. In the mitigation phase, the verdict among the judges must be unanimous for death. If it's not, the ruling is life without the possibility of parole, 25 years to life, or 30 to life, according to the prosecutors. So those are the options. It's either going to be the death penalty or life without parole, 25 to life, or 30 to life. Wow. Jenny says, "I really hope they show it. I've never seen a bench trial 3 judges who calls balls and stripes." I mean, I really hope they show it too, right? So they say a 3-judge panel was selected by random draw in December of 2019. The presiding Judge Howard is a member, followed by Judge Dan Howie, I don't know how you say that, Howie, and Judge Keith Spaeth. So that answers, I think, Kerry's question from earlier. Howie, who was not yet a judge in 2019, said he will recuse himself because he had contact with Singh in juvenile court concerning custody of his children. That means the 3rd judge will be Greg Stevens. All right, so Singh is charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder for allegedly shooting and killing his wife, Shalinderjit Kaur, 39, his in-laws, Hakiakat Singh Pannag, 59, and Parmjit Kaur, 62, and his aunt-in-law, Amarjit Kaur, 58, at their Westchester apartment, April 28th of 2019. Sure. So that's what's going to happen there. I think I've actually shown you everything I want to show you now. So what do you think? What a case, right? Can't believe I missed it. So that first trial, October 2022, and then in November of 2023, this guy decided to waive his right to a jury trial for the retrial. So it's going to be a 3-judge panel. I will link everything for you in the description box. I'm going to do timestamps for you as well. If you don't know what that is, just look in the comments, right? The very top comment is always one by me that I pin because I put in timestamps there for you. So if you just click on the little blue numbers, it'll take you to that chapter. You can also hover over the video. It'll give you chapter names, or you can look in the description box and there as well, it will give you the timestamps, which are the chapters of the video. So you can just skip to, okay, you want to see that little bit of body cam, or hear that snippet of 911 call, or you want to see, who are the victims or who's the defendant, whatever. I'm going to timestamp that all for you, okay? Dr. Berry says stress can make you feel lightheaded. The blood rushes to your core. Interesting. Okay, thank you. Spange as well says all Sikhs carry the name Singh Kaur. Singh, males means lion, and Kaur means lioness. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. I really appreciate it. Please leave some comments below. So, if there's any information like that you can share, you can also email me, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. And if you ever want to just visit my website to see if there's links that you're looking for or things like that, like buy me a coffee for the mods, there's the coffee link for them. There's also a coffee link for me. You can find it all on grizzlytruecrime.com. Thank you, Rob, for the coffees that you bought recently. Really appreciate it. And Shauna, I know you also spoiled the mods. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And me. Thank you. So everyone, I will see you again very soon. I hope that you enjoyed the coverage of my coverage of this case. If you did, you liked the video, not because you like the content. You know what I mean? Like the topic is very grim always with true crime. You're liking it so that you can say, I like the way she covers true crime. I want more people to see this. Please share it as well. There's some suggested hashtags in the description box. And I will see you all again very soon. If you're on Patreon, I uploaded a little mini podcast for you today, which are my little voice clips. So go check that out if you haven't heard it yet. Okay, everyone. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye.